Hi.
Heyo, welcome once again to the Finger Lakes Board Sports Podcast on FingerLakes1.com, brought to you by RochesterWindSports.com. I'm Doug Willard, along with the Han Solo to my Luke Skywalker over there, Jason Gordon.
Aloha.
Co-host. And Jay, may the force be with you, of course.
Likewise.
And we have another Jedi in studio among us today in the form of Brad Muse. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you.
And we'll get to talk to Brad. Brad's the owner of FLX Kiters based in Geneva, and he gives, among other things, kiteboarding lessons around the Finger Lakes. And the wind's a little bit strong out of the south right now. I post-session maybe, Brad?
Yeah, I'm looking for that.
Session?
Right after here, I'll run out. And
that'll be huge.
I'm stoked, yeah.
That'll be huge. We'll have to discuss that more. So good south wind here in Seneca Falls outside the studio. Episode 4 coming at you today. We've got 2 great guests that are going to be on the show today. We'll be discussing the first few post-ice kite and windsurf sessions of the season that have kind of taken place already. We'll get to be close up with our guest Brad Muse, and we'll also share some things we love and perhaps discuss a little gear stuff, right, Jay?
Yes, sir.
In the show, as we always do. But before we get to all that great content, we've got our first guest coming to us all the way from the beautiful island of Maui. This morning. This guest has to be one of the hardest working women in American windsurfing. She's been charging up her sailing for years now, but almost more importantly than that, forgive me, is what she's been doing for windsurfing. And she's been charging up the stoke for that sport, and she's brought a windsurfing tour back to the old USA. So without further ado, let's welcome the organizer of the American Windsurfing Tour, Sam Bittner, to the show. Welcome, Sam.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
Sam.
Hi.
So,
Thank you.
So early morning there. You got some sun this morning, or is it looking good?
It is. It is sunny. We've been having lots of little squalls coming through over the past couple weeks, but at the moment we're sunny.
Fantastic. Good. And we are too. So that's something that we share from Seneca Falls, New York, all the way to where you are. So again, thanks for coming in. A little bit of an intro there. You are the organizer of the American Windsurfing Tour. How many tours is this so far that we're working on with the upcoming 2014 one?
Started in 2010 with one event, and then 4 the next year, 6 the next year. We're on year 5 right now, year 5. So it's been over 17 events altogether.
Wow. Do you pat yourself on the back? I mean, right, guys? This is huge.
That is.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Good effort.
And sometimes I go, I'm crazy. Who do I think I am?
Well, you sort of. I mean, but in such a good way. You're it's so fresh that you're doing this, and I don't. I think for the first time that people, who is Sam Bittner? But now you're kind of a name that's synonymous with the tour that you've started, and I think. U.S. windsurfing in general, at least in my opinion, of that. So thanks for doing it.
Thank you. What a compliment. Thanks very much.
You've certainly earned it. The guys here in studio, we've even talked about trying to organize something of our own around here. But as you know a little bit from when I met you on Lake Champlain at one of your events, the wind doesn't always cooperate. So it's
That's
probably
true.
been
I think
tough.
we have a bit of luck with the AWT. We really do. There's something special about the events that we do, and even when it's forecasted to not be conditions, it normally pulls through. Unfortunately, not in Lake Champlain last summer, though.
These things happen, but the stoke was there, and again, thanks for doing that along with the folks up there that you organized it with. How's your sailing coming? I mean, you're busy and you work. You've got a job. You're going there this morning. I mean, what are you working on with your windsurfing right now?
Well, I just lately, in the past few weeks, or I guess the past month or so, I've been back out at Ho'okipa every day that I can. My girlfriends that I've met on tour from all over the world, from France and Canada and Peru, my girlfriends come to Maui for the winter, and they're like, all right, we're going to Ho'okipa, let's go. And I'll sit on the beach like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. Like Jason Polakow's out there, and Levi Cyber, and Camille Jubon, and they're just being so good on the waves, and I'll get intimidated. But when I go out with my girlfriends, I actually can do it. It's
Sure.
crazy.
That's great.
Maybe not as good as those guys, but I can do it. So lately I've been working on the confidence to go out at Hokipa.
Sure.
How big of a wave is a big day at Hokipa?
A big day at Hokipa can get as big as double mast, but not many
Oh,
people
my
could go then because the channel would close and they'd just go to Jaws on that occasion. The largest I've been out is mast and a half, and that was during contest with a rescue jet ski,
Okay.
which I used.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're all there with you.
Yeah.
We've got the windsurfing and kiteboarding walk of shame that we've, it's part of the process, right?
Right.
So what's been your personal motivation to start something like the AWT, the American Windsurfing Tour? You haven't. I don't know how long you've been windsurfing, but to start something like this up, what was there like? What was your motivation?
I moved to Maui in 2008 for windsurfing. I'd only been windsurfing since 2007. I could not water start when I moved here. One-way ticket by myself. And I went straight to Kanaha and met wonderful friends that helped me and teach me. And I started teaching beginning lessons after that. And then I just started improving. I love to watch the sport. I love to watch the really good people here on Maui. So that inspired me to start. And then I wanted to look for my future of windsurfing and if I was going to compete. I was interested in competing. So I looked into it and there were no wave sailing contests at all. And I thought for a second, hold on, my degree is sports promotions. So I just started organizing events. I started looking around for organizing an event in Maui, but the permits seemed impossible. And then I saw an event t-shirt from Pistol River in '99 and tried to call the city of Pistol River, which turns out it's not a city, it's a park. And so I found that it's actually the city of Gold Beach. And they were ecstatic. I called the city hall and they were like, oh, you can bring the wave bash back to our town. We'd love that. And they introduced me to the old organizers and I just took it from there. I had never even been to a windsurfing contest before. So it was extremely overwhelming. We had 86 competitors fly in from all over the world. And at the closing ceremony, I thought I was going to fall down. I was so exhausted. But everyone was coming up to me, you should have a contest in my backyard. Let's have one here and there. This is so great. You have to keep doing this everywhere. And so I went to bed for a month. I was so tired. And then when I came out, I thought, you know what? I think I would like to do this. It's so rewarding to see how many people it benefits. And it's extremely rewarding. It's difficult, but the more I do it, the more connections I make. It definitely helps a lot and makes it easier along the way.
Well, I would say when you talked about other people coming and saying, "Do this in my backyard," that's the first thing I thought. Your love of this is tangible, and I think it's something that all of us, whether we windsurf or kiteboard or around here we've got Great Lake surfers and stand-up paddleboarders. You could sense that and feel it, and it was motivation for me as I came away from the event that I was at last year and went with some good friends from around here, and it helped a little bit start to lead to what we're doing right here, right now, today. I lucked into meeting somebody or getting a call from somebody and being asked to do this, but it's kind of giving back. So hopefully you have patted yourself on the back and you've done a great job. It's been the media stuff you have surrounding it. It's been fun to watch on the internet, on your website. The videos that people have been putting together for it and the photos are fantastic.
Thank you.
I don't want to keep it too long. We've got Brad here in studio. But like, what are your goals? Do you have many goals for the AWT besides like reviving a U.S. wave sailing tour? And I guess you've mentioned a couple positive side effects that you've kind of seen from people, just the stoke of them wanting to come and do this, and the people that were in Gold Beach that wanted you to do this. Like, have you noticed any kind of cultural grassroots things or public, you've become a bit of a public ambassador for windsurfing in a way. Have you noticed any other, maybe positive side effects in doing what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. the kids that are doing the tour. When they started, they were 12 or something with Bant Roediger and Fiona Wilde, and now to see those two in particular, now they're 17, and they're traveling the world windsurfing, and they've made a name for themselves, and they are incredible athletes, and that's definitely a huge impact, a positive thing to be able to provide them a stage and inspiration and something to motivate them for the next contest and the next contest. So I think that's huge. We're growing the next Robbie Nash,
Yeah, right on. Well, I could appreciate, you talk, all the contests that you've done, but they still seem to be, and it's something we talk about here in the studio, or on this podcast often. It seems like such a warm community. You're organizing something great with fantastic local and regional, windsurfers, but also now pros, but everything still seems so accessible about what you're doing with the tour. So that's thanks for all you're doing to promote it. It sounds like people have really taken notice in the industry as well. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. It's making a huge positive impact for all the brands that are supporting. And I have almost all the brands behind the tour. And for them to be able to work together and sail together and be at the events together, the sail makers, the board makers, the reps, all their top athletes to be in one place at one time and to be able to collaborate and, kick back and have a beer together too at the opening and closing parties. I think that's really a positive thing for our sport to all help and grow together to improve their communication, and also the gear has been improving a lot, I think, over the past 5 years as well, as it always does. But I think that the tour has helped that.
That's absolutely fantastic. How many riders do you have signed up for this year so far for the tour? Do you know?
I'm so excited. So last year overall we had 300 different competitors register throughout the year. Most people wait until the day of or the week before to register. But the competitors we have registered so far for Santa Cruz, I think it's something like 25.
Wow.
It's not much right now, but they're all new people. I can't believe that there's still people after this long coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh, I guess I'll try it this year." So that's really cool.
That's
Nice.
really cool.
For you.
Yeah,
for sure. Will the AWT and the PWA, the Professional Windsurfing, so you think are you guys coming? You're coming back together again for the Aloha Classic, is that right?
we are, and we've been working on finding sponsors for that event for a while. I like working with the PWA because it's so much, Professional Windsurfing Association. And I feel like the AWT has been more family-oriented and flexible and accommodating for everyone, like you said, the amateurs included. And the PWA is bringing a professional aspect to it with loads of prize money. And Richard Page, the tour manager for the PWA, is experienced on going to these big companies and finding the money, which has been my biggest challenge throughout the years, is finding outside of the industry sponsorship. So he's bringing, and the PWA is bringing lots of prize money, which attracts the big pros. And it's also cool for everyone to see that, and the kids especially, for the kids to see that big prize check over the first place.
Sure. Well, I thanks so much for doing what you're doing for windsurfing, and good luck, best of luck with it. I guess unless you have something spectacular or anything like that you want to tell us about the windsurfing tour that's coming up. We've appreciated looking at the dinosaur portrait in the background. Sam, a closet paleontologist, apparently.
That's me.
Or where the wild things are. I don't know. It's good for a laugh. But apparently it was a garage sale treasure, you said?
That's right. I love garage sale shopping. That's one of my treasures.
Fantastic. Well,
And really nice having your face in the studio.
yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much for having me.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow the tour throughout the year.
We will. All the best with the tour.
One last
Thank
question.
you.
Are you getting a session today?
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm meeting the girls at Hokipa at 9:30.
Nice.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right.
for
Thank you.
calling. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Wow.
Nice.
All right.
Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, good for, and a lot of good things. But I'm sure we'll talk about it in a little bit when we talk more with Brad. Organizing local. It's something that you hit around for a little while, but
Yeah.
when you finally decide to pull the trigger. I mean, it sounds overwhelming, but having been to one of these events, and it was a small fledgling side event, it was a pretty cool thing. But that. So, Jay.
Hey,
we've got a guy sitting in studio with us.
We do.
Brad's here, and it's not a superhero outfit. He is a bit of a kiting superhero.
Look at those guns! Oh my goodness!
Right there, say.
He's all primed for the season with his dump valve and everything.
Yeah, I couldn't get my red carpet entrance, so I thought I would wear my dry suit. And I do have a session after this, so we got to make it fast. So.
Excellent. Well, we went with a little bit of a Star Wars intro to the beginning of the show here, and that was kind of thanks to Brad because, we really had to pull some teeth to get this guy on the show. He said, if I'm going to come on the show, you know what? I want a red carpet rolled out.
Right.
And he wanted to enter. Was it now? I couldn't open it in my email. And sent. Was it the Star Wars theme you wanted to enter to, or was it the Imperial March, more Darth Vader, dark?
That would have been better. It was the opening, but that would have been more appropriate.
Man, well,
I'm not your father.
Wow.
So we get a little loose here. We're not uptight.
Absolutely not.
So Brad, welcome to the show again. You started. You're a kiteboarder that lives in Geneva, right?
I am. I'm the only kiteboarder who lives in Geneva, and I'm very proud of that. And so Seneca is my lake, and you guys have your lake in Rochester Lake, Ontario, and so Seneca's my lake, but I won't clean up the goose poop. That's something I won't do.
Goose poop. Can you get out there with there he is. There's actually, you can see him on your studio. That's a good looking shot of you. And that's actually on our lake.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Imposter.
That's at Montana Beach on Lake Ontario.
And you took that picture,
I did take that photograph.
You're
you
good
betcha.
With the camera.
Yeah, well, I'm getting paid rights to show that photo on the I'm getting paid a fee to show that photo on the show. So I sent as many as I could.
Your previous apartment overlooked the north end of the lake. Now, I understand you just purchased a home. Do you still have a view of the lake?
We will not.
Okay.
And we're still in there now. I have another month or so there.
Okay.
But, when that meter at the chamber goes a little haywire, they're calling me saying, what is it exactly doing out there? So,
right.
But I'll miss it, because I get up and the sun rises in the morning and the sun comes out and I have coffee and with my beautiful partner, Mary Kelly, and it's just nice. So I'm going to miss that.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed that. I've never had that.
On
a daily basis.
You're still only like 5 minutes from the beach, though, right?
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
There's not a lot. So, how long have you been a kiteboarder, kite surfer? Did it start anywhere else, or are you born? Not born and raised, but did your wind kind of obsession start with kiteboarding?
No, I grew up in New England, outside of Rhode Island, and I started surfing out there, and I went to Hawaii, like I initially mentioned, and then I went to UH, and I was living the life. I was surfing Makaha, North Shore, and did that for quite a long time, about 8 years, and then
you have a picture of yourself from those days, right?
I do. Here's a picture of me.
A little closer, maybe?
Right here.
A little closer.
Yeah, move it closer. Let's see that guy.
You can see I was barrel-chested and agile and awesomeness, but now I've kind of sunk into midlife.
Barrel-bellied?
The barrel slipped.
Yeah, so...
It's beautiful.
I keep saying I'm shrinking vertically and growing horizontally. It's scary.
That's a good one.
Gravity's having its way with me.
So surfing, you've got a big surfing background that I was unfamiliar with. We've talked a number of times. We've even, at the hi-ho and various places, even on the shore. When did that was your youth. How long has kiteboarding been in the mix?
Well, when we moved here to New York, I saw windsurfers out there. I saw you guys out there on the lake, and then I saw some kiters, and I was thinking...
Probably Jay.
Maybe.
Could have been.
Maybe.
Yeah. And I was thinking, coming from Hawaii and the speed factor, I thought to myself, that's not going to cut it for me. But, one day I was diving, because I took up diving. I was down there, And then I saw Pat from Sodas on the beach, and he's like laying out lines, and I'm like, well, okay, this is my chance, right? So that was about 3 years ago, and all of a sudden he puts a board down and takes off doing like 40 miles an hour, and I was like, well, wait a minute, I'm going to have to do this. And so I told Mary, this is the last extreme sport I am going to learn. And so, it's been fabulous ever since, and it's been nice to meet you folks and a crew from Rochester, and particularly a big hats off to Jason, who's like made a big awareness of our sport in Central New York. I really appreciate that. So
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
That's great.
Agreed.
And it may have been me windsurfing actually down on Seneca, because I learned to water start right out in the waters here.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
See,
one of these days when we had the smoking, wind, that the waves were literally smoking.
And you chose that day.
Well, it's you can't learn to water start with a 7-meter sail and 15, 17 miles per hour wind.
Right.
But
something small, easy to clear,
exactly,
and enough wind to pull you out.
Exactly, and pop. It's like, oh, that's how you do this. So, just want to make that clear.
I'm sure. I would love to get you back on a windsurfer, but then that would take away from your kiteboarding awesomeness.
No, I really enjoy it all.
I've never seen you on a windsurfer. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Can you do like forward rolls in the air and stuff, or
just back rolls?
Just back rolls. Okay.
I can't even do a planing jibe, honestly. Maybe pulled one of those in my life.
Oh man.
Yeah. I can go in a straight line pretty well, though. Although I'm looking forward to applying what I've learned about jibing my surfboard on the kite to windsurfing, and holding the edge really steady and quiet to just set a radius and hold it through, and then flip the sail and see if I can ride away on a good day when there's some good wind. I think what I've learned from jibing on the surfboard will be able to lay right over to windsurfing. I have a feeling. I'm very curious, actually. Let's do the experiment this summer and try it.
Well, even watching, and Brad, probably you've seen the My Adidas video.
Yes.
That there is of Jay out there. It is an excellent one.
Yeah.
But I watch that stuff occasionally on lunch, because what else are you going to do on lunch when you're a wind nut and you're in a building? But I thought the same thing, watching you kind of carve through a couple turns, both feet in front. It was so smooth, and
port
to me
and
it was,
port and starboard turns.
I wonder. I bet it would.
Well, I know I went out on the ice with the ice windsurfer free skate this winter, and was able to immediately pull jibes on that. That's real easy anyway, but I mean comparatively. Yep. But hadn't been on a windsurfing rig in a couple of years, and so I am very curious to see how that
great.
Compares.
The ice part with at least a regular kind of jibe is really good for dialing in the sail flip, is what I found.
Yes, timing of the sail flip. Yep.
Rick taught me that. Rick Griffin is the one that got me started on this 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true, figuring out how early to flip the sail and things like that. But then connect that together with your surfboard or your kiteboard.
Yep.
So that's fantastic. So you're on Seneca a ton. Thank heavens for you and everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting pretty good at kiteboarding. You decided to do FLX Kiters. What was your motivation to that? Obviously, basically there is nobody else, but like we saw Sam talk about, that's a lot to take on.
Yeah, we all need to be safe about the sport, and as it grows, and then it's difficult to get lessons. They're far away in California or Boston, and so I was helping some folks out, and I wanted to do it the right way in the area, and in the process protect our access, so that we're putting a good faith effort in with our community, that we're trying to progress and grow in the right way. And so I did a week in New York, Long Island, and kind of was at a boot camp for the IKO.
The IKO is?
That's the International Kite Organization.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got a certification of training with them. And it was really good because, they gave us a lot of tips, and then they were constantly looking at us and judging us. And internally as well, all the participants that I was with would have debriefings, and it was just a great experience to kind of bring some of that professionalism into our area. And so, and I'm not making $1 million at it, but I think that it's my way of kind of being proactive in our area for our wind sports.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're a model in that regard for me, and it's making me consider doing the same.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, because going up to the Great Lakes side of things, there's always interest whenever you're at the beach kiting or windsurfing, for that matter, and to have to know what the industry standard is as to safety procedures, and to be able to pass that along to people is important.
Yeah,
So-
ICAO is not the be-all end-all, but there's a few others, but
It's a standard, which
yeah.
is usually a good starting point. So
yeah, so yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah.
So he sails mostly on Seneca, but Jay, you've probably seen the posts on the Ruster Wind Sports forum about different. Have you had the chance to get down with Brad to Watkins?
I haven't. That's the south end of Seneca Lake, right? Is that more of a flat water session? Compared to up here, we can get some pretty good waves on the north end of Seneca.
Yeah, we do have some waves down there. Maybe not as big though.
Okay.
So I did bring a little map though, if you'd like to see it, to
Yeah.
kind of talk about Watkins and how special it is a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to? Here, maybe I can hold it up here in front of me or
Okay.
something. Hang on a sec.
Yeah. So, like Seneca has these cliffs. The topography is that there's these cliffs around the lake, kind of like the gorge. So the wind kind of gets funneled in to Geneva, but
I'm upside down, aren't I? I'm upside down.
yeah. So there you go.
It's
Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's go. We're up here by Geneva. Okay. All right, we're up there by that's
the north end.
Yep, there's
Yeah.
the north end.
So yeah, right and close there. So if you see, there's some contour lines on the outside of the lake, but there's not a lot. So we get this nice streaming effect of the wind. But now as you go down south toward
Okay.
Watkins, and you
Give me
can
a
fold it
second
there.
here. Yep.
how long is the lake? Like
36,
34?
yeah,
Okay,
right
wow.
around there. So
That
it rarely freezes too because it's so deep.
Oh, that's right.
That's
It's
the one
the
that-
deepest of the Finger Lakes, right?
Yeah.
So I guess
600 and some feet, I
It
understand.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So move up a little more vertically up
Go to the south,
okay.
yeah.
to the ceiling. Yeah.
Oh,
there
I'm
you-
starting to see the contour lines.
yeah.
Yeah.
You see, there's a lot of them in the depths. It's pretty deep.
Getting there. You got about 4 inches, and you're at the
I
end
should
of
have put more gas in my tank. This is a
Yeah.
little- there it is.
That's
Let
a
me-
downwinder. 34 miles.
So you can see how compressed those contour lines are. So you got some cliffs right there. So what happens is when you guys up in Rochester, it's about 8 miles an hour. Geneva is like 12. When that place is 20 knots. So
Uh-huh.
and I've been down
So
there.
is that the Venturi effect, sort of a
Yeah.
funneling effect, where it accelerates into that narrow and
Yeah.
and kind of brings it up a couple notches. Just the nature of
Yeah, compresses it.
yeah.
So it's really exciting, and not too many folks go down there. And there's a delta. There's a creek that goes in, and it flattens out. So it's shallow for maybe a half a mile out.
Oh, neat.
But it's a tricky launch, so it's a kind of a advanced location.
Mhm.
But it's kind of a nice little secret place so
Yeah.
far, anyways. So
Can you do an unassisted launch there with a launch line?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
there's room. It's not a matter of there being trees. It's more just
yeah.
that you don't have a bona fide beach, because it's more of like a delta on the south end, right?
Yeah, there's like a grass lawn.
Mm.
There are a few trees, so we kind of have to thread it through a little bit.
Mm.
But and I've approached the park, the Clute officials there, and I said, hey, I can kind of keep an eye on things. This is a sport that's growing, so I'm attempted some contact there.
Great.
Yeah.
No kidding. Thanks. So you
Yeah.
haven't really run into a lot of other people that are kiting down there, other than folks maybe that you've connected with and are heading there with you, or
Yeah, it's been just me and Pharmacy, aka Pharmacy Bob Montermontero.
okay.
Good.
I know
kite
Patrick
surfer.
from Sodas Point does make it down there.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he had a
Okay.
good session last year.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's sporadic. I think it's a little dry for folks. So
Sure.
That is a
Yeah.
hike, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember heading to Sampson State Park to catch a north wind
Oh, yeah.
on Seneca, and that was coming from Rochester. That was a drive,
Yeah.
worth it. But it was
Yeah.
some time in the car
Yeah.
to get there, as is going out to Woodlawn for the kiters, or Hamburg Town Park out
Very
on Lake Erie.
Southwick down on the east end of
So
Ontario.
so what
Yeah.
is the
Speaking
best?
of which, I have a session report, or rather a conditions report for the east end of Lake Ontario when we get there.
Okay. Yeah. What is the best wind in the area? Is it Lake Ontario, or is it Hamburg, or is it Seneca?
That's an interesting little discussion.
Oh man, that's a toughie. I'd have to say regionally that Lake Erie is because of the combination of the fetch and the scale of the size of that lake, that you get a little bit of a combination. Of course, it really depends on the direction. I mean, anywhere if the direction's not right. But Lake O, on the southern shores of Lake O, if you don't have a fair amount of north in it, and even when you do, for some reason there's some swirling that goes on, I think, with the landmass, that creates not the steadiest wind. So I'd say the ends of Lake E and Lake O, and then definitely the north end of Seneca's got really usually rock solid wind.
When it's going, I've got to say that's my. I mean, my favorite place is at the northern end of Seneca.
Yeah.
You know, I just like the way the swell sets up out in the water. No matter whether you're launching from the state park side or from the Castle Creek, the Finger Lakes Visitor Center side, just the way it sets up there, it's like the Columbia River Gorge to me. And I you know, it's manageable. It's really good. And I never feel like, whoa, too over my head.
Yeah, I was out just the other day, and I was looking on the horizon, and there was like this ripple effect because of the heat. So they're like heat waves, but yet there was a cold air. There's always some kind of anomaly.
I noticed that too.
Did you?
Yeah, was that Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Is that just because it was that warm out?
I think it was maybe a bubble going on, that it was above. I just didn't know. There's so many interesting things about Seneca that, that's one of them.
Oh, there was a time last year where I felt like, it looked, the illusion was you could see the south end of the lake. Whatever it was in the atmosphere, it looked closed all the way around with land, and it was very crisp and clear. That's
weird.
I've heard people say the same thing about, there's something about one of the Great Lakes, seeing across from like Sarnia, Ontario to Detroit, or,
Nice.
my geography could be completely gone on that one, but the same kind of thing where people, it's like a 30-mile distance, but it looks like it's 15. Fascinating stuff. Yeah. So how do they get a hold of you? How do people get a hold of you if they want to get a lesson from FLX Kiters?
Yeah, well, I do have a Google website now, and the best place to go is probably to your website. And, I've had a few folks come to me from Rochester Wind Sports website, and I'm currently helping about 3 or 4 folks right now, and we got some real superstars coming up too, so I'm pretty excited to some nice, responsible, and talented folks that are kind of coming through, and so
fantastic.
Yeah, it's good for the season. And
the kite community around here. Well, and the fun thing I think for me that I've noticed driving from Rochester when I come down here to Seneca is it often can be a mix. It's kind of a central point. We'll have people from the Rochester area, greater Rochester area, and there's a guy from Jeff that comes up, I believe, is from Ithaca, is a windsurfer.
Yeah.
But then we get people that come and kite and windsurf occasionally, but more, I think, regularly from Syracuse. Do you get other folks that come here from the east?
I would say it's almost a fair mix from Rochester and Syracuse that will converge onto Seneca on a good day. And it's nice to get to know people from the different areas that will come out. And they come a long way, And there's some people who come as tourists too that come to Seneca because they hear about it. So it's nice that your website has some information about where to go, and and that's helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And that's why that's kind of the little part I guess I think I try to help out and do is do that via the website. I'm not doing lessons. I'm not. I'm doing the podcast here with Jay, and we're enjoying that, and glad to have guys like yourself on, and I say guys, we haven't had very many women. Sam's the first female guest we've had on the show, a bit. I mean, official but unofficial. She was, she Skyped us. But are there many women that are kiting now? Are you giving? Have you had women ask for lessons?
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few, and then there's a veteran from Syracuse. I believe her name is Penny.
Okay.
And she's just dynamite on the water and very advanced. So I'd like to see that grow too. Yeah, I would like to mix it up.
A community of people that just want to share that excitement, and the word I use is stoke. But if you've got a connectedness with the water and the elements, come and give it a shot, and Finger Lakes Kiters is the way to do it. So yeah, you can look for Finger Lakes Kiters. Probably search it on Google, right? Yahoo.
Yeah.
If not, you can come and hit the Start Kiteboarding, Start Kitesurfing tab on the RosterWindsports.com website, and it'll link right to Brad, and he'll get back to you.
Yeah.
He really will, because
yeah, we have I have a.
And you're certified, so
Yes.
That's comforting and important.
Yeah, and it's a 3-stage process where I like to see where people are at, what their level is, and then kind of take it at their pace. And it's less expensive than some of the more professional outfits that are on the coastline. So
Sure.
Yeah.
The thing they have going for them would be the more consistent wind, but
yeah,
you're here in everybody's backyard, and
Yeah.
a phone call and maybe a short drive away
yeah.
when the wind is going.
That's
so.
a really good point you make, that when they go away somewhere like Hatteras or Cabarete and they'll come back to New York, winds are quite different. And they're not used to it, and they still need some assistance kind of acclimating to our winds, because we have kind of storm winds and so forth that aren't as clean. But they're good, but they're just not as clean. So that's a good point and a reminder for folks that I deal with.
Quick
Yeah.
question. You've been teaching at the north end of Seneca, and mostly, I'm assuming, over on the park side where you have a nice sand bottom. And has that been pretty good for you? Because there is a large area of shallow water that you can do your lesson from, and therefore safer, than deep water and having to have like a boat assist type scenario.
Yeah, that's really important. That's one of the lucky things, the very fortunate things about Seneca, is it is so shallow.
Yeah.
So when I do go out with someone and I assist them, we're going way out, probably out toward the marina end,
Yeah.
which is about almost half a mile or so. So we give them a lot of room, and then we try to get them away from the beach, and so it lends itself well to some lessons. Yeah.
Fortunate for that.
Yeah.
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 For sure. Well, we've talked about organize. I mean, you and I loosely have talked about trying to get something going on like whether a festival or something like that in our area. Even something like a downwinder where we launch anywhere from 5 miles to 10 miles up the lake somewhere, and in my dream it's a beautiful sunny day, and we stop somewhere to eat on the shore, and then we all end up here at the northern end, and it's a story you tell your grandkids about. But I mean, it could be cool to organize something like that. I mean, there's a lot of logistics we have to kind of wrap our heads around, though. Don't you? I mean, I don't know if you have any connections, or maybe if there's anybody out there.
Yeah, I think it would be a nice way to kind of bring the kite and the windsurfing community together as well, and have a challenge to work toward together. And yeah, we're thinking about that. We're really seriously trying to think about some kind of thing that would be sponsored for, say, something like the ARC agencies for kids with disabilities or something. So we're kind of trying to get lift off on that. So,
Sure.
yeah.
I mean, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, would you go from as far south as Lodi Park, which I think is further than Sampson, right?
Yeah, our thoughts were between Bob and I were that we would start at Watkins.
Oh,
And
Whoa,
then do
epic.
a day trip to this Backacres campground, which is pretty much approximately adjacent, across the lake. It's on the west side, so it's in. There's a nice winery over there, and there's a campground, and so then the next day would be off to the second leg would be to Seneca, Geneva. So that would be a nice thing to. We need someone with a boat.
Yeah.
To kind of
yeah.
kind of be a chaperone on the water for us, but
Boat
that's what we're
backup.
thinking. Yeah,
That would be neat.
That would be cool.
that's what we're
That'd be really cool.
yeah.
So stay tuned, or if you're interested in helping organize that, get a hold of us on the website.
Yes.
So yeah. Well, kind of a new segment, a new kind of take or an add-on to kind of reviewing gear. Something we thought of was things that we love. Now I look over, and Brad, you are in your full dry suit. And,
That's new to you, right?
Yeah. Does it make me look fat, by the way?
Well, no, it makes you look warm.
It's more of a Michelin Man thing.
I know.
I wouldn't really call him fat. I'd just call him puffy.
Puffy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's comfortable in his Michelin-ness.
'Cause
So
it puts it in my. I don't
You
have
are
a double chin.
Comfortably
but,
puffy?
Yeah.
you don't need any water, do you?
No, I'm good.
Now, not to be racy on the Finger Lakes Sports podcast, but what are you wearing under there, Brad?
Wow. So, yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, it's a dry suit.
It is, but I have my ski pants underneath here.
Wow.
So, when you take a good dunk in that water, he's looking at me like, what, really? But when I fall in,
That's
mean,
warm.
that water's still cold on
Yeah.
you. It's right now, it's like 30.
Everyone has
degrees.
their own threshold or tolerance of cold.
Yeah, so it stays cold for a few month or two after the spring arrives because
yeah.
it's so deep. So we have to wear this until
Water's in the 30s now, right? It's
Yeah.
maybe 37.
Yeah.
It's
So we
cold.
don't. Yeah,
I was in it last week and took a dunk a couple times crashing on a move I was trying, and it was like instantaneous ice cream headache.
Yeah.
And when your head goes
Yeah.
under, it was just really uncomfortably cold.
That leads into another question. Now, I'm logging my sessions.
Yes,
Ooh,
Yeah. And some people do this, right?
that's right.
I did
So-
for a while. I had a little notebook.
Right. So now that leads me to the question of what is a session? Is it, if say it's in
I have
January.
I have my
and
own
you go out
definition.
for-
Go ahead.
If you go out
Yeah.
for 15 minutes, does that count as a session?
Well, if you can, this is my definition personally. If I can make 3 passes and stay on point or stay upwind for,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then
That sounds scientific. I mean, that's
literally, even if it's 100-yard passes, and it's 15 minutes,
and then you
or-
run for your car because you're freezing because it was the middle of
Yeah.
January. But still, if you
Yeah, but there is a definitely where you give it a try and it did not work.
Yeah.
But if you give it a try and you're staying upwind, I consider that a session.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
2 minutes, I
Yeah.
wouldn't call that a session.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. See, I would, but and other people wouldn't either. They'd say, well, you got to be out there half an hour, and so
Yeah, I think that's
all right.
that.
we've got a good friend, the Ontario Bowie. Some of his sessions are like 8 hours long, I believe, if he's watching. And we've got other friends that almost die every session. So in their own words,
I heard about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
we love them. We love you guys.
That's right.
But yeah, I like what
What
Jay
about
said.
way out Andy? Didn't he sail to Toronto one time?
I don't know way out, Andy.
Who you don't?
Maybe he's in Toronto.
I only heard of him. He'd go out on a windsurfer to the middle of the lake.
Way out, Andy. Do I know way
Yeah.
out? I don't know way out, Andy.
There's
But,
another guy that I want to get to know on Seneca who's retired, and I don't know where he is, but his name's Cookie. And he's like the veteran of Seneca.
No kidding.
So if you're out there, I want to know who you are. I'd like to. You could have him on the show if he's still.
I'd like to know if he's still if he's tuning into the show. I mean,
Yeah, you never know.
it seems like we've got some good viewership, but
Yeah.
we don't know who these.
The real question is, will he bring cookies?
Oh,
Yeah.
and I hope you'll call the show after that horrible joke, Jay. We're sorry, Cook. I like Thin Mints and those little ones, coconut macaroons.
Peanut butter.
So we started leading into before this awesome, enlightening conversation.
Stupid joke.
Stuff we love.
Yeah.
Some stuff that we love. So Brad, we talked about your suit. Stuff I love. Okay, and wind related, whatever. I love heading to a session when I've been having my Finger Lakes coffee roasters. It happens to be Finger Lakes coffee roasters, but Jamaica Me Crazy is the best coffee there is. So thanks, folks, at Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters. We are not sponsored by them. I'd love to. We do have a sponsor that Jay will talk about near the end of the show, which is exciting. I love Finger Lakes coffee.
Nice.
Okay. I also
stuff.
love my brand new Rochester Windsports bumper sticker. You guys will be getting one today.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Whatever you do with them, tell your mom that I told you to put it on your car.
It's going on my car.
Okay. And as a windsurfer, in these light wind days, let me get this out here. I
Don't
love
try and take that through the airport, man.
really big fins.
Oh my! Is that a machete or what is that?
There it is. We'll start here. This is Seneca Lake, but not on the map. I could have put this on. That's a really big fin to get me going on those days that are just marginal, not quite enough wind. So I love really big
Is
fins.
that you're a big fan, or you just have to eat a
Let me put this thing. Let me put this thing away.
all of them.
And so those are the things I love. What are those magic blue gloves? I love those too, but they're not mine.
Yeah, you might see me if you see these gloves, these are my dry suit gloves, and they keep your hands dry as opposed to wet, which is a big deal.
No, the wet gloves would be like a neoprene glove that doesn't have that big sealy deal, right?
Yeah, they're like mitts of neoprene, whereas this is a system. It's a cuff system, if you can see that. Now I'm going to take it apart and show you how easy it is real fast, right? So, see there's the ring there?
Yeah.
And inside there's a ring here. Yeah.
Inside your suit.
That's right.
Ah.
Plastic ring.
So it just jams it.
Yeah, that's right. So jams it in there, right? And then all this is, now these gloves are bought in the hardware store.
Come on.
Oh,
Yeah,
those are the
these are-
chemical gloves.
Yeah. And so you cut the end off, and there's another ring, and it slides in there. Now you see the little gasket there?
Yeah, yeah.
This is a spin-off, so you can remove it. When you get on the beach, you want to take them off, you spin it, and it pushes it off. So these are diving gloves. So I'm also a diver, so I took this right in, and and now what you do to put them on, you just kind of you push it in like that.
Wow.
Oh,
And
I
now
thought
it's
they
on.
screwed on. That's way
Yeah.
easier than I thought.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when you want to take it off, you just spin it, and there's this pushing it off. So it's quite a difference to have. No, they're not perfect. They will leak if you take a good wipe out, but as far as
Not
being,
catastrophically, but just a little bit of a seepage or
yeah, a little weep in there. So
weepage. Yeah.
yeah, so I highly recommend them.
Those gloves bag will they work when I do the dishes? Comment. I have the dishwasher at my house, and that's one of the things that I do. And I don't know, I've got dishpan hands right now.
Oh.
And, the whole thing where Madge from Palmolive soaks
Yeah.
in it. Madge is soaked in it. I don't believe it, Madge. Look at these fingers. Look at me.
You're a mess,
the
man.
I need to get out on the real water instead of water. Jay, what do you love? Get
Well,
me-
right behind you is my 9-meter. It's a
Ooh.
slingshot RPM.
Ooh.
It's a great size. First of all, the 9, it's big enough to get you through. It's also small enough to handle a lot of wind. That'll get you out into upwards of 40-mile-per-hour gusts, although that would be pushing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then down to mid-teens, high teens. And the design, I just have to say, the RPM is just magically stable
Magically delicious.
and delicious. That's banana flavor. Some people are into the black licorice, but
Chocolate dipped on the end.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's tasty. It's great in the waves. It has a really nice drift. I know it's not a dedicated wave kite, but I don't always get wave sessions, so I don't feel like I need to have dedicated wave gear around here. But the nice thing is that it behaves so nicely at the top and the bottom of the range. It's very steady to the top end of the range. It doesn't get wonky and start jellyfishing like some kites I've owned.
Mhm.
And on the low end, it's still stays in the sky in amazingly low winds. And that's for the entire RPM line. I can say that. So
Nice.
I love that kite.
Nice.
Yeah, and I love Lamp. That Lamp of
Now,
the golfer.
Brick,
Is that a
you-
line from a movie? I love Lamp.
Do you really, Brick? Do you really love that lamp?
Steve
Do
Carell.
you, Brick? You sure? Is that
No one knows what the hell I'm
Brick? Are
talking
you just
about.
saying that? I know what you're talking about. Steve
You
Carell
do.
from Anchorman. Brick,
Thank
really,
you.
That's why I'm calling you Brick.
Brick.
Brick, do you really love the lamp, or are you just
I love
saying
Lamp.
things?
I love Lamp.
Jason, do you really love the lamp? It is a cool
It's a
little lamp.
golfer. He's golfing, and it's a lamp, and he's golfing
Love
with a
lamp.
lamp on his head.
I love lamp.
Okay.
Well, I love that you've been working the phones here and with out
have.
in New Jersey. Do you want to
Yes,
tell us a little
good-
bit about that? Something
Yes,
something
a
new
good-
for the podcast.
Yep, a good friend of mine at Green Hat Kiteboarding in New Jersey.
Shout out.
Yes, does a great job down there. By the way, anything you buy will be shipped promptly and be able to arrive sometimes the next day without too much
There's no
problem. So if
shops
you need
around
some
here.
last minute items, if you lose your gloves or your wetsuit, or
That's a popular place,
you-
actually.
it is. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be reviewing, and Doug and I are going to be reviewing some items that Vadim stocks in his store.
Okay.
And so we get a chance to try them out, demo them, and then we'll do a video review of the items that we won't necessarily show on the show, but a couple minutes review of the items that review will then be posted on YouTube or Vimeo, but we'll do a quick chat about that item on the review segment
Sure.
of the show
Nice.
each time. So,
That's gonna be.
and it'll be
excellent.
sort of seasonally related, like next month, because the waters do stay cold until June up here pretty much. A lot of folks are still in their dry suits until then. Next month we'll be reviewing a couple of dry suits that he'll be sending. So looking
Fantastic.
forward to
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And I'm happy to say he's our first official sponsor
Yeah, thank you.
for the show. Thank you, Vadim, for that.
Yeah,
So,
thank you, Vadim.
Nice.
Very-
Green Hat Kiteboarding. Green Hat Kiteboarding.
that's right.
Finger Lakes Sports Podcast. Is well, we'll get to that in the future. But thank you,
Yes.
Vadim. That's going to be exciting.
Yes.
Nice
Taking
work.
another step for us.
Yes.
Anything for the good of the cause. Anything else for the
That's
good
right.
of the cause.
Yep.
We're
A
near
little
we're,
gas money.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
You
hike
know?
from Rochester.
It is. Worth
But
it.
it's
We
worth
love
it.
Yeah.
Damn it. Hey, there's
Yeah.
some wind out on that canal. I was like, man, a
Yeah.
couple clicks more, I could have gotten a session out back. You guys
Uh-huh.
bring the damn webcams
Did they?
out there.
Yeah.
Can I swear
Is
on
there a
them?
Seneca Falls Police Department? Oh, okay, there is. So they're right here in town. It's
Got
not
my
like-
permit.
It's not like they're calling the troopers from out of town somewhere. So it's, they'll be all over your permit.
Say what? What? Huh? I don't see any signs.
Well,
You need no stinking
we'll
permit.
boat launch. We'll boat
right.
launch in the canal. Stay on the canal. We won't
right.
launch from.
Actually, southeast is looking like the direction because I think it's a bit of a southeast
I saw
today,
you
right?
checking it out earlier.
And it comes over the hill there. It'd be kind of funky wind, but on a strong enough day, I think it'll touch in on the southeast
Yeah.
and catch a little session out in the canal maybe.
Nice.
Oh, they will be. Anything
Could be
else
good.
for the good of the cause? FingerLakesKiteboarding.com. Brad Muse.
No, thanks
guess
for
the
having
day.
me on the show. I watch it all the time, and you guys are doing a great job.
That's
Thank you.
fantastic. You know, we're adding stuff here at the podcast, and we're constructing a green room right now. No, not really. We're not really constructing a green room. But boy, I mean, maybe we have Brad back on the show. This has been quite entertaining. Gotten a lot of
Absolutely.
laughs.
Yeah, it has
great.
been.
Sure,
I
yeah.
can't
Sit
believe an
there.
hour's already
You
gone.
know?
That's amazing.
Nice.
So for sure.
Better
So
payable.
don't forget. And don't forget wetsuits. Don't forget your wetsuits. You're
Yeah.
going out now. Dry suits and wetsuits,
Yes.
Yeah.
booties, gloves, harness. Don't forget that stuff. Don't leave it at home.
Absolutely.
If you're already into the sport, because that'd wreck your session.
That's
Getting
right.
There now, well, it wouldn't be a session because you wouldn't get 3 passes.
You guys all go all the way back home.
Yeah,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
you'd miss the wind, and it's no fun when that happens. So that's our 4th show in the books.
Wow.
4th show in the books.
Nice job.
Yeah, likewise. Good job.
Yeah. Jay.
May the force be with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And also with you.
Ah,
with
that's
you.
what I was looking for.
Dun, 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 dun. So, anyways, we
Is that
thank
the wrong
you
show?
for no. That is the wrong show. That's Spock. That's are you?
Damn it.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
finger
What show
thing.
are you
that's,
on, anyways?
That's Spock.
I don't know. I don't know my name half the time.
Like I was saying before, we're getting out of here. If you're still with us, thanks, because we're getting a little chippy, a little loony here. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you heard anything or saw anything that you would love to learn more about, you can visit our podcast's page at fingerlakes1.tv, or you can visit rochesterwindsports.com, where you'll be able to get a hold of me, Doug Willard, Jason Gordon, and you can hit up Brad Muse of FLX Kiters.
And thanks to Sam Bittner.
And thanks to Sam
Yeah.
Bittner.
Aloha
Yeah,
to you.
Yeah,
Mahalo.
she's not with us here at the end, but
Mahalo.
she
Yeah.
started it off with a bang. Our show, and she is also doing great things for windsurfing. I think in the old United States of America. So for Brad Muse and Jason Gordon, I'm Doug Willard, and thanks for watching. We'll see you out there.